3 tips for each role in Marvel Rivals, starting with the Vanguards. Tip number 1, learn to take space during and after team fights. As the main frontliner of the team, your spacing will dictate the flow of the game. This doesn't mean you need to hyper-focus and push the enemy team back to their spawn, but you should understand your team's strengths and position yourself on the map that will benefit you guys in the next team fight. Tip number 2, each Vanguard has some sort of sustain. Learn what it is and get good at using it. For example, Penny Parker's webs heal her and give her bonus health up to 800, so she should always be playing around her webs to maintain that extra bit of healing. This could be the difference between you surviving the enemy team's push or getting taken out in a split second. Learning about the little ways that help you survive will not only help you, but your strategists who are trying to keep you alive. Tip number 3, keep your head on a swivel. There are a lot of times Vanguards get hyper-focused on one thing, like taking down a strategist or going band for band with the enemy team's Vanguard who swap to the character you're playing. This isn't necessarily bad, but it can lead to you overextending, leaving your strategists to fend for themselves. Think of yourself as the big brother. Sometimes you gotta protect your little brother by being near them, and other times you gotta punch the bully in the face. Keeping your head on a swivel will help you find the balance of protection and aggression. Now, on to the Duelist. Tip number 1, learn where the health packs are on every map. If you want to be the person who goes in and gets all the KOs, you gotta do a bit of homework and learn the placements of the health packs. You're asking way too much out of someone who can't take their eyes off the Vanguard who's taking damage from 4 other players, plus they have a Psylocke consistently trying to jump on them and keep you healthy the entire game. As a rule of thumb, playing as a Duelist, you should never think you'll get healing from your strategist. When you think like this, your rage will subside just a bit, knowing that the only one who has your back is you and those health packs. Tip number 2, figure out what your KO combos are. Every Duelist specifically has 1 or 2 ways that is their optimal way of taking out an opponent. Look up videos, ask friends, anything to help you learn what those are for your character and try to perfect it. You're aiming to get at least 3 to 4 KOs per life. This will open up opportunities for your team to win team fights and take space. And tip number 3, aim for those pesky strategists, or really any of the squishy characters. Unless you have an opportunity to take out the big old Vanguard, your main focus should be removing the healing from the other team or their biggest damage threat. So don't be afraid to take those 1v1s to try and get your team an advantage. With your knowledge of KO combos and placement of health packs, this should be a pretty straightforward task. And last but not least, we have the strategist. Tip number 1, this is gonna sound a bit crazy, but don't become a heal bot, where the only thing you do is heal your allies and never try damaging the enemy. Something the devs said a few months ago is that every character should have a 50-50 chance in winning a 1v1, so that means strategists were built to do some damage as well. Plus, you'll learn as you go up in the ranks in competitive that exclusively healing won't cut it. I'm not saying stop healing your team, but instead you'll need to find a balance of healing your team while weaving in damage to the enemy. Tip number 2, you need to understand spacing between you and your Vanguards. Being too close to them can lead to the other team shifting focus on you, which will lead to you being taken out early. Now, being too far away from your Vanguard, you won't be able to help sustain them with heals, and then they'll ultimately be taken out. It's all about finding that perfect balance of space. You want to be in a place where, if they need that Luna Snow ultimate to survive, you can give that support to them, but you aren't so close that you become the main attraction of the show too early. And lastly, tip number 3, communicate. If you're being jumped on by Venom and Spider-Man, let your team know. Sitting there complaining to yourself that they're focusing you is not going to get you anywhere. You have to remember, being able to heal someone makes you a higher priority for the other team's Duelist. So in a way, you should expect to be hard focused. It's what you do afterwards that is important. You should be relaying to your team that you're unable to provide support because the enemy is constantly on you. For instance, ask for a Penny Parker to set up some mines so that you can play by them. Or maybe get a Namor who can stay near you with his octopi. If you don't speak up, it'll just be an irritating experience for the next 5 minutes. And if you already said something and no one wants to help, just go Jeff. Swallow them all up and watch as they all rage. One last final bit of general advice, don't be afraid to swap characters and roles. There isn't any role queue specifically for this reason. If it isn't working out, just swap. You're gonna lose even if you don't, so why not give it a try? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more like it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and remember to keep leveling up.